Welcome to Joy Recovery Radio, the place where couples like you can discover healing and hope after sexual infidelity and betrayal trauma. We're here to share insights, strategies, and real-life stories that support both sides of the recovery journey. We're passionate about getting this message of hope and healing to as many couples as possible. The best way you can help us do that is by engaging with our podcast. Please take a moment to follow us on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Liking our episodes and leaving a 5-star review also makes a huge difference, helping others find our community when they need it most. Let's dive into today's episode.
We want to welcome you back for part 2 of our in-depth guide on infidelity polygraphs. In the first episode, we discussed how Stephen got involved in doing polygraphs, common misconceptions some people have, how to prepare, benefits of polygraphs, and limitations on what it can and cannot measure. In this episode, covering part 2 of the interview, we highlight specific guidance for the addict and the betrayed partner as they prepare for the questionnaire, success stories, and maintenance polygraphs. So let's pick up right where we left off in the interview, discussing the process of polygraphs.
Next, I want to talk, Stephen, about the process for both the addict and the betrayed partner when it comes to full disclosure and the poly. And I know the one of the things that was helpful for me when I'm trying to go back literally decades and understand the timeline and all the behaviors and the money spent and things like that, I struggle with trying to understand, well, what year did that happen, and try to anchor it into history. And it was really helpful for me to pull up bank statements and look at old calendars and things like that. And so that was just part of the process that I followed. Walk us through the process that you recommend the addict follow to prepare for full disclosure poly and the betrayed partner as far as their questions go.
And so we'll talk about the guy first. So the first thing I think that is important that would really help is getting started early, right? The second you know you're going to be doing a polygraph, man, get with me, get the questionnaire, get started on it. If you get the questionnaire early enough, you'll use it as a guide for your disclosure is what will happen. I mean, most guys don't even think about a lot of that stuff, until they've read it in the questionnaire. It's a lot of new stuff. So getting to me quick, that's first and foremost. This is the process, how I do it. And so we'll just go through my step by step. So first, like today, a lady reached out to me. And so we spoke a little bit, but I told her, I said, hey, she's like, what do I do next? I said, well, I want him to do the doing next part. I really struggle with having a wife say, well, he's really busy. Well, he wasn't really busy. I mean, if he's too busy to do recovery stuff, I have a problem with that. So I told her, I said, hey, it's his work to do, not yours, right? She has enough already. If he truly is hoping to have forgiveness and hoping to have healing, then he's got to do the work. And that sounds horrible when I say it so mean. I'm not against him, but listen, you put us here, right? And so it's his work to do. And so he's going to reach out to me. I really prefer text initially. And so you've seen me. I mean, I'm locked down in session all day. I can't pick up the phone and start having conversations, but I have all these templates that are perfect for every scenario. When I see something come in, I can pop that to him. We can really get the ball moving. Right? If you get a text from me, I'll send you a template that says, hey, provide me all this information. Once you provide, and I'm going to just be waiting, right? I'm done. I'm waiting on you. Once you provide for me all the information that I need, and that information is just about having all the parts and all the players and ways to contact everybody before we move forward, so that I don't find myself at the end desperately needing to contact someone but don't have any of their information. I don't move forward until I have everything from everybody. That's how I know we're done, right? And so once he gives me all that, then I'm going to send out the starter email. Those starter emails come, the first I send is to the both of them together, okay? That's going to have the questionnaire in it, and it's going to have the contract. The contract says this in short: if the marriage doesn't survive, you're not going to be subpoenaing me to come and testify. You're not going to be subpoenaing my emails or my forms, none of that stuff. And you agree to that ahead of time. I've only had 2 times so far where someone tried to take me to court, both lost. One, I was going to sue, and it took that in order for them to stop trying to get me. And the other, the judge says, no, you signed it. You signed it. And that's that. And so I think that's going to be the precedent, I hope. But anyway, I'm definitely not going to be participating in a divorce. And so so that email covers that contract, the questionnaire, and the instructions, right? For filling out the questionnaire, what should do next. Then I send a second email. It is individual. So I'll send one to the guy, and there's a video in there, an audio, I can't remember now exactly, but it's for him. It was made for the guy, right? And the information in there's you see how my stuff is? I mean, it's all color coded and bolded, this and that. Then if you don't understand what to do, it's because you're just not at all paying attention. And so, man, read that stuff, right? And then for the wife, her second one is, to me, the most important. And it's because we need her to understand a lot more of the behind the scenes of the process than he is even able to. Let me say this for the guy. Knowledge is not power. All you do by finding out more detail of that process is ensure the possibility of a false positive. You do it to yourself. Don't go research polygraph. I promise you're not going to find out anything helpful to you. People don't understand the countermeasures today. It's kindergarten easy to see it happening. I mean, it's kindergarten easy. And so that's all you're going to find is somebody out there trying to tell you, whose experience was from 1980, right? And so you don't need to research it. Just follow the instructions and do what it says. Come into this knowing or being willing to give your wife everything she needs. That's it. Just do that, right? And follow all these processes. So she gets that second email. And what my hope is that the wives don't try to contact me until they have gotten that email, actually read it, and then actually listened to the videos in it because they're super helpful. And then after all that, if you still truly have questions, then set up a time and we'll talk. Because here's why. Boy, I want to be able to just sit and have a conversation with every lady. But as you guys can see, it's after hours. And I spend my evenings doing this, or I'm, prepping for the disclosure for the next day. Or I'm, talking to a wife who's really struggling. But if I had to talk to each and every single partner, I just wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, this would fall apart. So as much as we can get done in these templates, it's really important. But know this, if you need more after that, I am here. I will talk to you. That's not a maybe. I will talk to you. But I'm just asking you, please try to get all the information you can first. But if you need it after, absolutely call me. Let me know. I'm going to tell you, I want your completed questionnaire at a minimum of 5 days prior. And here's why. Man, nobody seems to take it serious. And I get, the most common thing I get is I'll get a question where I'm asking multiple things, right? 3 or 4 different details that go on during this, whatever the acting out is. And I'll get a yes or a lot or, right? I mean, just, boy, don't waste my time because I instantly have a problem with you when I see that. All right. Show when I go to read your answers, just how much you love your wife. Show just how hard you're willing to work to save your marriage. And if I get that and it looks that way, awesome. I'll be looking forward to seeing you. But if I contact you and say, this ain't going to cut it, I don't care if I'm losing $1,000 the next day, I'm going to cancel your appointment. And guess, guys, oh, but my wife, well, that's a consequence, isn't it? Right. And so if you think I don't care about what your wife's about to go through, you're wrong. But that's on you, not on me. Do it right or expect to get canceled. That's going to happen. So, guys, I flew in again, that's on you. I don't care what situation you put yourself in. If you don't do this right, you're going to find other complications. And so just do it right, man. The message is this: put all you have into it. I will give you twice that, but put everything into it. I'm telling you, if you come here willing, you are going to find a guy that fights for you like you would not believe. And I mean, both of you. So, man, you're given a second shot. Good grief, act like it matters. So, if I send the information to you and not to him, he can't have it. Okay. That's another thing too. I never send a report to the guy. You'll notice that, right? Like I never do. There's a reason. Okay. So let's talk about that. Who gets what of its report? Here's my preference. The law says I have to tell you verbally that you passed or failed. That's it. That's all I'm required to do. Okay. So we're gathering all this information, and that information is going to go to the therapist. Hopefully both his and hers. Here's what I will never do, guys. I'll never send it to his therapist so he can forward to her therapist. That's never happening. Never. Because it's already bit me in the rear. You'd be shocked that professionals would take your data, take it out, and then forward it as if it was your work. Take things out of it and say, here he is. And then, it's happening multiple times. And the wife contacts me, why didn't you ask? Or how did he get away with this? And I'm like, what? And I go back and look, and sure enough, there's been things deleted because that therapist thinks that information is just harmful and it won't help. I'm not trying to make those decisions, but I'll tell you what, don't take if you want to say, hey, he has more in here than we want to share, great. Do that. But do not forward my emails and say, this came from me. So I don't allow people, you will see at the top of all my emails, do not forward my emails to anyone. If somebody needs it, they can contact me and I'll send it. That way I know that the recipient gets what I intended the recipient to get. Now, let's talk about another part of that. Who should get results and who shouldn't. So I'm going to tell you what I like, but I'm going to end it by saying I'm going to support what the couple needs, period, right? It is not good. This is my opinion. It is not good for the wife to receive the physical disclosure, questionnaire, all that stuff. And I want to tell you why. I would never tell her she can't, and I ain't going to tell her she can't handle it. Here's what I'm saying. There are going to be a lot of times in your future where you guys are doing pretty good and could keep moving forward, but something's going to make you, let me double check that. And now you are just lost, spiraling in all this old stuff. And it sets you guys back so far. And that's just sad. I mean, it's really sad because it's hard enough already. And so, but then I'll be wise. Oh, you don't tell me what I can handle. And I'm okay. Hey. So here's what I'm telling you. You pay therapists, use them. And if you don't trust them to give you the information, don't go to them. Go somewhere else. Choose therapists that you feel like you can trust. Otherwise, don't spend your money. And if you can trust them, then trust them to do that part. Trust them to know. If you just feel like you can't trust your therapist and you must have the result directly sent to you, fine. As long as your husband signs that release and says, I can send it to you, I'm going to do it. But it's just not the best way to do it. But that's not my choice or decision to make. Legally, it's his. I think that frustrates a lot of probably therapists and, partners. It's not my choice to make legally. It's not yours, and it's not theirs. It is legally his to make. He has to sign off on it. Now, I will say this to him. Are you crazy? I mean, why would you tell her no? That's not going to work out good. I can tell you that for sure. If she's adamant that you give it to her or this isn't going to work, I mean, good Lord, man, we give it to her, right? And so, I mean, we're doing this to hope things get better. If she feels she can continue to move forward by having the physical copy, then great. We're going to give it to her. I think that's not true, but if she thinks it, who am I to say, right? So that's my stance on it. Prefer not to, will if we just absolutely must. But it's all coming from me for sure, not somebody else, not forwarded from somebody else. If somebody needs it, it needs to come from me to send it to that person. And it has to be him that tells me. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text, whatever. Steven, send this to my wife. Okay, great. I'll print that, put it in your file, and I'll fill you up.
I'm going to go off the path and you don't have to answer this, but I do want to highlight something that was so helpful for me that you did. You gave us like 95 questions. And one of the things that Rory left out is I actually have like 850 questions. Yes, for his disclosure. I hit a record. But your questions were so thorough. And there were things in there I never thought of. There were things in there I'd never even heard of that I had to Google. And that alone, those 95 questions, I ended up cutting 3/4 of my questions off because your questions you gave were so thorough and so helpful. I did not expect it. It was a complete shock. It's like, hey, Roy, you need to answer these questions. And I'm looking at those questions. I was like, wait, Steven had to answer these questions? I was blown away. I was like, is this dude a therapist? Like, what's going on? It was amazing. I think you should totally promote that because that was a huge weight off my shoulders. Thank you.
But I'll tell you those 800 questions you had. Literally, this sounds so vain, I know, but if you aren't going to have a question that I haven't already asked. I'm just saying that 99% of your questions, even if not worded exactly the same, those answers can be found in one of these questions. They're designed to be that way, right? They're covering everything. Here's another thing too. When he gets there and he gives me that general information about them, man, I'm taking that and I'm spiderwebbing all these other details that you're going to get from me, right? The questionnaire is kind of a foundation for me. It gets me going on my line of question.
At joyrecovery.com, we offer personalized recovery coaching to help you move from pain to purpose. We also provide supportive groups where you can connect with others who truly understand. So whether you're battling addiction, healing from betrayal, or rebuilding a brand new relationship, you're not alone. We can help. Go to joy-recovery.com today.
There's the scripture that when I think about the polygraph, this comes to mind. And the God says, confess your sins and you will be forgiven. But James 5:16 says, confess your sins to another so that you may be healed. And that is so profound. It's like, you know what? Confess it, get it out, do the polygraph so that you may be healed. And I believe that is so true because the polygraph changed our relationship completely. Leads up to my next point, is tell us some success stories or stories of hope.
My goodness, the success stories are endless. That's the truth, right? The number of people who divorce is small. I don't want to call it insignificant, but it's small. The majority of people, and I mean this, there's a lot of people who survive, a lot of couples that survive. I don't want that. That's not what I'm looking for. I want couples who thrive, and there's a lot of them. Listen, think about just where y'all are. Here you guys are, and listen, let's be honest, it was a tough one, right? It was a tough one. But look at us. Here we are, the three of us, doing a podcast to help all these other broken souls, right? I mean, that's your success story right in your face. Right? You know how many podcasts I've done, and every single one of those couples that I'm doing these podcasts with, they're success stories. They are the success story. Here's something to think about. I've never met, and I don't think they exist, to be quite honest. I've never met a coach or a CSAT, man or woman, who is not one of two things. He is either a recovering sex addict or the betrayed partner of a recovering sex addict. 100%. Nobody goes to college and thinks, you know what, sex addiction sounds cool. I think I'm going to do that, right? That's just not how it happens. And so yeah, there's just a lot of success stories. One of my favorites, and they've given me permission to talk about them, so I don't feel like I'm betraying them at all. But they are a couple here in Houston, and they coach. They came to me. I was doing the polygraph. So let me tell you something. I was not a fan. I was so angry and annoyed at this guy because he just, man, I'm not gonna say he's my friend now, so I don't want to get too hard on him. But it just was bad. It was just bad. It really, both of their behaviors was bad in the end. By that I just mean how they were handling everything. And they got divorced, and then she started doing this, and she surprised me because right out of the box I expected her to be a man hater. I thought, oh my gosh, she's a therapist and she's just gonna be out there ripping guys a new one, right? And she was the complete opposite. It really surprised me. Like, she was almost an advocate for the guy. You know, she was helping the wives, but she was a really big advocate for the guy. That I did not see coming. And she is still to this day. She is really good at it. But anyway, so one day she gives me a call. She said, hey, friend. That's what she always says. And she says, you know, I got to tell you something. And she says, we're getting remarried. And I'm like, what? You got to be kidding me. Are you crazy? And so long story short, she convinces me. And I said no at first, multiple times. You know, she go have lunch with him. Go have lunch with him. Because she wanted me to do this polygraph. I'm like, I don't want to polygraph him. I don't want to do it. No. And so my wife's back here going, you know, isn't that why you do this? And I'm like, dang it. Don't make sense to me right now. And so she is right. And so I was like, crud, okay. So I agreed to go to lunch. And man, I got to be honest. If he was faking it, he was really talented. I mean, he was really good. I know this today. He was not faking it in the least. But I can't rationalize, like, the guy I know today, who is my good friend now, with that guy. They're just, how does the person come that far, right? But that's your success story. I mean, they are remarried now. They help couples every single day. They're good at it. I make that comment to guys all the time. Like, I say to them, if you succeed, you owe. Bottom line, you didn't get this by yourself. If you succeed, you owe. So get out there and be a sponsor for somebody, right? Get out there and help somebody. Don't just sit on the sidelines and say thank you from a distance.
That was super inspiring, Stephen. Thank you so much for sharing those stories of hope. I did think of one additional question, and then I want you to share how people can get in touch with you. But there is a full disclosure, Polly, but then there's the possibility for some of us, we come back and we do maintenance, Polly's. And that is just to reassure our partners that we haven't gone back to the old behaviors. Talk to us about the maintenance, Polly. What's involved with that? How is it different?
Maintenance is some of my favorite ones because that's where I get to see those stories of hope, right? And so, so here's what happens. Every guy that comes in here, I always end with that. We're going to see one another again. You'd be surprised how many guys go, no, I'm not doing it ever again. Oh, yes, you are. Trust me. If you're staying with mama, you're coming back here to see me. But anyway, so there's no questionnaire. Like, I'm not sending a questionnaire out. But here are the pieces of advice I'll give about it, right? You know you're coming. Why would you wait until the day of the test and try to remember all the things that you've done, knowing that if you fail this test, you might as well have been acting out the whole time because she will believe it. Trust me, right? So prepare yourself. What am I going to ask you? I'm going to ask you about any and everything possible that you could have been doing, acting out sexually, right? That's what we're going to talk about it. And so I used to think this was silly. Boy, I had a bad attitude, didn't I? Journaling. I thought, what man journals, right? Well, let me tell you something. A man who wants to save his marriage journals. A man who wants to overcome sex addiction journals, right? So guys, journal. It does more than just tattle on yourself, right? But it does make it easy when you come that it's a reminder. Here's all the things, look in my journal. I struggled this day. Here's why, just bring those notes with you when you come. That makes the maintenance so easy because you don't have to sit there and wonder, I thought, man, and be paranoid. Am I getting it right? Man, did I remember everything? We're talking about 6 months. If you wait a long time, maybe a year, right? But man, no guy who sees me for a disclosure should be coming back a year later. That's way too long. Trust me, if you never come back, I won't notice. I'm busy. I'm not telling you that so I can get your money. I'm telling you that because you need it. And more than that, guys, she needs it, right? Man, if you really want to repair your marriage, help her to trust you. How do you do it? You give her some pieces of evidence along the way, right? And polygraph's just one of them, but how you act, how you treat her, how how committed you are, all these things make a difference. The aftercare, maintenance, give it whatever name you want. It is going to cover only that period from the day you're in my office to the day you come back to my office. That's it. No going back to disclosure, nothing like that. And the same rules apply. Why just that amount of time? Because we're telling a woman that her partner is sober, that they've remained sober. Well, sober means in this time. We know they messed up before, but in this time period, they have maintained their sobriety. So we don't go outside of this time period ever. Okay. And so he just has to be prepared. Let me just say, though, the number of questions I ask, it's many. It's many. Why don't I send a questionnaire? Well, because you should be able to answer those questions quickly and easily without having to have a document that you work on for 3 months, right? Because 95% of what you tell me that day should be no, 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 none, no, right? If you're where you need to be. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to be a nervous wreck every single time you come, no matter what. If I had a nickel for every guy that says, man, I wasn't worried until I got in here. That's the thing. You can be confident all day long, but if you care about your wife, when you sit in that chair, you're going to have anxiety, period. If you do 700 of these, you're going to feel that 700 times.
So, Stephen, in reference to maintenance polys, let me ask you just an additional follow-up question. What I usually encourage the men that I work with to do is to do daily check-ins with their partner and to be ridiculously vulnerable with them about any struggles you had that day.
Yeah.
Don't sit on any secrets whatsoever.
Yep.
So if they're practicing that and they come to do their maintenance poly and you ask those questions and they're able to say, well, not anything that my wife doesn't already know about. Is that also a good practice in conjunction with the journaling?
Yeah, there just needs to be this vulnerability of openness, right? Man, if you're sad, your wife ought to be able to come and say, hey, what's going on? And you want to tell her, you want to talk to her. But I'm going to tell you something, partners. You have to create an environment where he feels safe enough to do that, right? That's a big ask right after a disclosure. It's a really big ask.
Thank you so much for joining us. How can our listeners get in touch with you if they're ready to start their polygraph process?
I'll tell you, these days, you're not going to find a whole lot of stuff on my website. Honestly, I've never once ever done any kind of marketing. And so I don't really use my website to draw people in. There's stuff on it that you can look at, but for the most part, text me, right? You can email me or text me, either one. I really like text because it's so immediate, right? And it pops up in your face. And I can get to it when I need to get to it, but at least I see that it was there. My wife works with me, and so she answers a lot of stuff for me. She will not answer something. I get so frustrated sometimes, she's like, well, they're talking to you. And I'm like, I know, but you don't have, nope. She's like, if they're talking to you, you need to answer them. And so if you're saying something to me, you're going to get an answer from me. But if it's just scheduling and things like that, she does all that in the background, under my name. So you'll get an email from me or a text from me. But a lot of times, if it's very impersonal, she's setting us up doing what we need to do. Okay. But that's it. Just text me, 832-657-4712. That's the way. Shoot me a text. And my email is my name. I'm going to say it and then spell it. It's Stephen@CablerPolygraph.com. And yes, it's Cabler, not Cabler. And so that's Stephen, STEPHEN at Cabler, which is CAB as in boy, LER, Polygraph, no spaces, Polygraph, POLYGRAPH.com.
Now, Stephen, I want to thank you for your military service, and also thank you for your service to this community, because Goodness knows we need it. And also, please extend our gratitude to your beautiful wife for her helping to support you in this, because I'm sure it's a lot to take on. You're a
Amen.
busy guy. And the other thing I really appreciate is Roy reached out to do his maintenance poly like last month. There's a misconception, and we might have to delete this if I'm wrong, but
It's all right.
you weren't like, he didn't have to wait 6 months or 3 months. You were able to like fit him into your schedule. And I really appreciate that. Like, you really worked with us on the schedule. You're like, hey, give me some times that work for you, and I'll tell you what my schedule looks like and if I can fit you in.
Let me address that real quick. That's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, my schedule's tough because I do book it. Like right now, I mean, I don't have a place to put anybody for a minimum month. And it usually kind of stays in that range, anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks. I'm pretty booked up. But here's another thing that people don't know. I get cancels constantly. Like, people cancel at the last minute. Nothing frustrates me more than to have somebody cancel at the last minute. But there's still even people who next week I'm supposed to be there and they cancel. I'm able to fit people in those a lot of times, and it gives the perception that I'm able to schedule people easier than I actually am. So yeah, know this. Get with me quick. Because I'm usually 3 to 5 weeks out, and for just an aftercare is the easier one. But most people aren't. It's not disclosures that are canceling last minute. It happens, but rarely. But it's the aftercare. So I can fit a guy looking for a maintenance fairly easy most of the time. Not always, most of the time. But the disclosures, you need to get with me pretty quick, because, and I'll tell you something else that will be helpful. I do disclosures at 2 different times. 9 o'clock, because they take so long. I either do a 9 o'clock a.m. or I do a 1 p.m. I don't do any afternoon disclosures on Friday. Keep this in mind. I'm one person, right? Even though my wife helps me, she's one person because she's the one really doing it. And so, people say, oh, can you give us some dates? Imagine how many people I will schedule this week. And if I give all of them multiple dates, there's no possible way for me to keep up with who I offered what dates. And that's not literally possible. I don't do that. Here's what I tell them. You give me a date and I'll give them a parameter, after this time. You give me a date that you know that you can be here. 100% guaranteed, no matter what time I give you that day, you could make it. That's where we're starting, right? I don't have time to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Come to me with dates that you know solid. I'll be honest, this is the times where I get frustrated. If I say, give me a date you know you can make, and then you tell me Tuesday, and I give you Tuesday, whatever, and you say, oh, I can't make that. I'm going to get agitated really quickly, because I just said, give me a date you know you can absolutely come no matter what. So do that. Give me a date you can make it. Now, important also, wives, you won't be coming to the polygraphs. I don't allow any partners to come to the polygraph. Come at all, okay? She can fly down here with him or whatever. That's totally up to them. And so the partners simply cannot come to the polygraph. I've had women come drop their husband off and drive away. Perfect, fine, whatever. But you can't be here. You can't come get in. You can't come in. We just can't do it.
Well, we were hoping that this would be a thorough guide to everything related to disclosure polys, and man, have you delivered, Stephen. Thank you so much for giving your little time that you have to help our audience. So we appreciate it. Thank you, Stephen. And thank you to our listeners, and we'll see you next time.
That wraps up another episode of Joy Recovery Radio. We hope our conversation today brought you clarity, comfort, or a new perspective on your journey. Remember, healing is possible, and you don't have to walk this path alone. To learn more about how we can support you, visit us at joy-recovery.com. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, choose joy.